On the internet, there is so much false information about growing houseplants. You will meet hundreds of different people telling you hundreds of different things, and it can get so confusing. And truth be told, there is really no one way of doing it correctly. So on that note, I would love to share with you guys the things that have worked for me personally. First things first, stop overwatering your houseplants. The soil that your houseplant is in retains moisture, and keeping it completely saturated all the time is not good for it and will cause root rot. And remember, root rot is the enemy. Second off, always use a pot with a drainage hole. If your pot does not come with a drainage hole, you can take a nursery pot and place it inside of the pot. But make sure you remove it during watering day. And lastly, if you're an overwaterer, I recommend using a terracotta pot. And if you're an underwaterer, plastic. Alright you guys, good luck. I hope that helped, and let me know if you want a part 2.
Have you ever noticed water droplets just like hanging out on your plant's leaves or on the petiole, the stem, just like chilling? It happens for different reasons, so let me break it down for you. Water droplets like this and like that and that is the result of a process called guttation. It usually happens the morning after you water a plant. It basically happens when there's too much water in the soil and the root pressure squeezes it up and out of the leaves. It's not a bad thing. Sometimes you'll notice drops on the petiole or the back of the leaves. This stuff is basically nectar produced by extrafloral nectaries, and it's 95% sugar. The extrafloral part means that it's separate from a plant's flower. The two hypotheses of why they exist are to rid the plant of metabolic waste or to attract insects. Fair warning, if you leave these droplets on the back of your leaves, it will leave a stain.
Let's talk about how to care for an English ivy. These plants are super unique because they are popular as indoor vines as well as outdoor ground cover in most of the US. English ivy grow best in filtered indirect sunlight but are capable of growing in low light areas. Variegated varieties need even less sunlight. You only need to water your ivy when the top 1 to 2 inches of soil are dry, which, depending on your home, is about once every 2 to 3 weeks. Give your English ivy a light mist every 2 to 3 days to keep the leaves happy and hydrated. To maintain humidity, keep your plant away from air vents that will dry out the leaves and soil.
Here's a cool iPhone trick if you're ever out plant shopping and you want to know what the plant is. You can now take a picture, hit the information icon, look up the plant, and it will identify it for you. Thank me later. I'm back at Lowe's to show you some things you're going to need on your next trip there, and I'm not just talking about plants. Lowe's has some great products to keep your plants healthy. I'm going to show you some here today. So first things first, you want to get some insecticidal soap and some neem oil to keep those pests at bay. You want to get this rooting powder to help your propagations root. Let's keep walking around to see what else I can find. Now you definitely want to pick up some perlite to keep that soil well draining, some moss for your moss poles or even your propagations, and even some coconut coir to add to your soil mix as well. Look at this photo op, couldn't help myself. Now for my overwaterers, I got you. These sticky traps are gonna help you with that fungus gnat problem that you're probably dealing with right now. And on an aesthetic tip, Lowe's has this mister bottle and this water bottle that I thought was super cute. This acrylic plant caddy to move your plants around seamlessly, and these baskets. Listen, aesthetics all day. Follow me for more at
Begin what it is, how to use plant pots. For new and dirty pots, clean with mild dish soap, unlike y'all's makeup brushes that haven't been cleaned for weeks. For a deeper clean, use distilled vinegar and soak up to 24 hours. Soak terracotta overnight before potting so that the porous clay can absorb the water and not pull from your plant's mix. To sterilize, bake terracotta on 220 degrees for an hour and soak before using. Make sure every pot has holes to prevent overwatering. Use terracotta for plants that like to dry out between watering, glazed ceramic, and plastic for moisture lovers. Like and follow.
This is a philodendron serpens. It's so wild looking. It's got these fuzzy petioles. It almost looks like something out of a children's book. And I got it several months ago because I really wanted to add this plant to my collection. But I also want to make some available in my shop, so I'm about to chop it up. A lot of houseplants are simple to propagate. You can just snip off the cuttings and stick them in water. But this plant is a little more finicky and difficult to root. So in order to prepare it for cutting, I air layered it. There's so many roots in this moss ball at this point, so it's definitely ready. And here you can see the growth point. This is where the plant will continue growing after I cut it. I always use a fresh blade that I wipe off with rubbing alcohol, and I'm going to cut this off camera or else I'm going to be clumsy. And it's done. Since this was the top of the plant, this will just continue growing, and I put it in a plastic cup so I can keep an eye out for some roots. And since the bottom is well rooted, this will start growing.
I work with houseplants for a living. I gotta tell you, spring is the best time to repot your plants. More light means more growth. As the flowers start to bloom, your plants are gearing up to grow like crazy. If the roots are starting to coil around each other, it's gonna need more space to grow. But a word of caution, only go up a pot size that is 1 or 2 inches bigger than your current pot size. This is not a go big or go home type of scenario. If there's too much extra room down here, the soil won't dry quick enough and then you could get root rot. Everything comes back to root rot.
Hi friends, we're finally doing it. Here is your full care guide on Monstera deliciosa. These guys appreciate bright indirect light, so in an east or west or near a south window would be perfect. Yes, a grow light is fine. A lot of you guys are overwatering. I let the dirt dry out pretty much completely before watering again. If you're an overwater, try planting it in terracotta. For my bigger pots for aeration, I like to poke some holes in the dirt before watering. Those roots need oxygen. Make sure you dust those leaves to keep them shiny and prevent pests. And missing these guys, really unnecessary. These guys are incredibly easy to propagate. Just cut below a node and stick it in water and yield roots in no time. But Nicole, I want holes. Give her some support. No, it does not have to be a moss pole. Good luck.
So why are your Monstera leaves not splitting, or when are they going to split? I got an answer. They split based on sunlight and how far up the stem. Firstly, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. If your leaves aren't splitting, they're not getting enough.